Okay, welcome back to another editing video using Lightroom. And today I'm going to edit some photographs that I took with my D500 and the Nikkor 500 PF f5.6 lens in my backyard bird studio. Now it had snowed a little bit yesterday, didn't really accumulate too much, but it gave for a nice clean white background for the birds today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I import these photographs, and then we're going to pick a few of them. Well, we're going to cull them first, and then I'm going to pick a few of them to edit with you in this video. So I have started up Lightroom already for you here, as you can see, and I've already inserted the card into the card reader, and what I'm going to do now is click on the import button right down here, and I'm going to look for my sources, and the source I'm looking for is the Nikon D500 card, which is right there, and I'm going to go to the DCIM folder and click on this folder here. Now these are the images that I have photographed. Let's see, were these all done today? Some of them were done yesterday, and some of them were done today, but it had snowed a little bit yesterday. There's 169 images in here, and we're going to import those into our destination folder, which is over here on the right hand side. And the destination folder today is the pictures. I'm going to go ahead and expand that for you so you can see it. We're in Pictures 2025. And I have a subfolder called Birds, and inside of there I'm going to create a folder by checking this box right here at the top of the destination tab that says into subfolder, and I'm going to give it I'm just going to tell it it's Birds and today's date. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to import all of these into this folder, and then we're going to cull them out. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to put them into the Birds 0107. Oh, I said 2024. I need to say 2025. It's hard to get used to after the first year, isn't it? Make sure where the organize word is, make sure it says into one folder. Okay, that means it's going to put all these into one folder. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, this is no different than if you were using a Windows PC or doing this manually, copying your photographs from the card to the computer. Okay, you would normally put them into a folder. Okay, and whether you use Lightroom or not, most people would do that. That's what I call old school, back in the old days. So we're going to go ahead and click on the import button down here at the bottom right, and Lightroom is now going to import these photographs for us. Okay, we are finished with the import process from the card into the Lightroom catalog, and as you can see, the grid view is up, and we're in the library module. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through these photographs, and we're going to cull them first. Okay, and as you may or may not know, this is the way I cull them. Okay, the first thing I do on my keyboard is I hit my caps lock key. Okay, and I'll explain to you why in just a second. The next option I do is I pull these up full screen so I can see them clearly. So I'm going to double click on the first one right here so I can see it. Okay, and this is where we're going to start. Okay, now by turning on the caps lock key, every time I press the reject key, which is the X key, it will advance to the next photograph for me, so I don't have to hit the enter key. Okay, and no matter what key you hit, if you hit X for reject, or if you decide to put a pick on it that you want to look at it closely, which I use the pick option, that's a P key, as in Paul. So this very first one right here, I can tell you right off the bat that I'm not going to keep this photograph. So if I just hit an X, and if you'll look at the bottom down here where the film strip view is, if you have that view up, you'll see it progressing from one photograph to the next. This one here is not a keeper. Okay. This one is not a keeper. Okay. And neither is that one. That's kind of cute. You know, I might look at that one. I'm going to put a P on it. And when you do put a P on it, if you look at the bottom film strip tab down here, it puts a white flag on it. Okay, when the P stands for pick. In other words, you're picking one that you want to look at later. I'm going to go ahead and take the next one, which is almost identical. Normally when I shoot 3 or 4 frames at a time, and I'll go ahead and select all these to see which one is the better pose and which one has got the sharpest part of the picture. Now the ISO on these photographs was about 2000. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, overcast day, but it had snowed, thus the lighter colored background behind the bird. Okay, that one right there, I don't really care about that one. I've got Bluebird pictures like crazy, so I'm always looking for something unique. And what I do is I kind of click on it and look to see how much detail I can see through the noise. This is 3200 ISO, which is about the upper limit of a D500. I'm going to go ahead and put a pick on a couple of these, just because I like that little pose. And I look for mannerisms for the bird to turn its face at you. This is pretty cool. Okay, he's looking right at me on a little metal hook out there on the trellis. This was 6400 ISO. I'm going to try to work with this, but this is really reaching it for a D500 sensor. Okay, I'm just going to do the one. I'm not going to save these others. I'm doing X's and P's is what I'm doing. This is pretty cool. The Bluebird has a dry mealworm in its beak, in its bill, in its mouth. So it's at 3200 ISO. I'm going to go ahead and put a pick on a few of those, and we're going to go back and look at those. This is not a good photograph. The bird is out of focus. The bird is hidden by a bunch of brush. This little wren was jumping in and out. The wind was really blowing, and he was moving around quite a bit. I'm not keeping any of these photographs. I'm hitting X. You can see me moving along in the film strip down below. And we're going to go through and select the rest of these, and I'll come back here after I've got done. Okay, now that I have selected all the photographs for rejection and the ones that I want to work on, I either give him an X or a P. I don't leave them untagged, okay? I can choose to go ahead and delete these photographs that I rejected now, or I can wait till later, and I think I'm going to wait till later. So if I only want to see the photographs that have a pick on them, a white flag, then I would come down here to filters, which is located right here above the film strip. You can see where my mouse is. I'm hovering down here. And if you click on that white flag right there, it's going to filter, okay. Hold on a minute, I got the stars in there too for some reason. In the blue, I didn't mean to do that either. Okay, all I want is the ones that have a white flag on them, and now it's showing those in the film strip down here. If I click on the grid view, it'll show them in the grid view. So I ended up with about 40 out of 169 that are keepers. Now what I'm going to do is go through them one more time, and I'm going to look at them more closely and see which ones I actually want to edit. And those, the ones that I think that I want to put an edit on them, right away, I'm going to give them a 1 star. Okay, so we're going to start right here in the grid view, and I'm going to double click on the first one here, and I want to zoom in and look on that. And I believe I would like to edit on that one, so I'm going to hit the number 1 key, which is going to give out a single star. Okay, and I still have the caps lock key on because I'm starting at the very beginning of the picked photographs. There's only 40 of them, and I'm going to let the computer advance to the next frame every time I hit the number 1. Now if you're not going to hit the number 1, then you can just hit the right arrow key, okay, to go to the next picture if you're not going to put a number 1 on them for editing. And I'm going to skip that one, so I'm hitting my right arrow key and moving on over, looking at the photographs. Now you can do this in full frame view too if you want. If you just hit the F key right here, you can go into full frame, and it's the same thing as if you were viewing it the other way, okay? And sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that. So I'm going to hit my right arrow key and keep going over 1 frame at a time. And I think I'm going to give this a number 1, okay? And we're going to skip these. And I believe I'm going to give this a number 1, and definitely this one a number 1, okay? And I wanted to play with this one a little bit. I'm going to give it a pick, not this one. And I'm changing the frames here, going to the right so I can see their poses. I kind of like this pose better than this pose. So I'm going to put a number 1 on that to edit it, and possibly this one too. And here's a northern flicker. These northern flickers have been in my backyard for several days. I'm going to put a number 1 on this one, and then he turned his head to the right there. I'm going to put a number 1 on that one and see which one I like best. This is one where he took off and flew. I just thought I'd show you that I did catch him flying, but it's not a sharp image. So we're going to go ahead and put an X on this for reject, okay? It's going to change the flag from P, white, to rejected, okay? This is a Cardinal, and I'm wanting to, I overexposed it on purpose, and I believe this is the pose I want right here. I'm going to put a number 1 on that. Now, I thought this photograph was just cute, okay, because the Bluebird was sitting there, and then the American Goldfinch was sitting behind it, and it's out of focus, obviously, because the focus point was on the Bluebird. But I'm going to go ahead and put a pick on that one, a number 1 on that one. And this Mockingbird here, it was in and out all day long, chasing other birds, and it got really close to me, and I was able to grab this photograph of it sitting on the deck handrail wiring, and I'm going to go ahead and edit on that one, okay? Now to get out of full frame, you can either hit the F key again or hit escape, okay? Escape does the same thing. Now what I'm going to do is I did reject one of the photographs, if you remember. So if you look, I'm down to 39 photographs of 169 and not 40. So the very first one I'm going to try to edit is this one right here, this northern flicker. And we're going to start on that edit in just 1 minute. Now I'm going to try to do this without a whole lot of rambling type talk. I'm just going to go through my thoughts here on how I want to edit this. The first thing is it has a lot of negative space on the left-hand side of the frame, and that's something I'll probably want to reduce, and I'm going to go ahead and do that right away. I'm going to go into the develop area. I'm going to click on the tool for cropping. You can also hit the R key to do the same thing. And we're going to crop that in. We're going to just crop it in horizontally for now. Something like that. We'll leave a little negative space over there. We're kind of getting the bird into the rule of thirds without cutting the bird off. And I'm going to go ahead and take that crop right there, okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply some Lightroom denoise before I do any other edits to it. So I'm going to go down here to the detailed section on the right-hand side, and I'm going to click on denoise. This is the Lightroom denoise. And if you recall from previous videos that I have done, I like to go by the amount of denoise. If it's 1000 ISO, I normally pick 65. If it's 2000 ISO, I'll pick 75. If it's 3000 or 3200 ISO, I'll go as high as 85 and maybe 95. So what I'm going to do here, this is a 1400 ISO photograph. I'm going to start about 70. So I'm just going to click right here and type in 70. And we're going to say enhance. And Lightroom's denoise is going to apply itself to this photograph. Now remember, we have not applied any edits to this photograph whatsoever yet. And by the way, this is typically how I edit my bird photographs, okay? This is the process I go through, all right? And so the denoise did a fairly decent job, okay? I'm not too sure if the bird is sharp enough for me, okay, for some reason. It may have been heat distortion. I do have a gas heater that sits outside the window. It doesn't look like it's very sharp, but let's go ahead and apply a basic edit to that. And I'm going to click on the basic edit section, and I'm going to hit the auto button and let Lightroom do that. It did a pretty nice job. Most of the time, if I hit the auto button, Lightroom gets you pretty close, okay? And then we're going to tweak it from there. Again, I'm not too sure about the sharpness of this when I'm zooming in to look at that. It's not looking real good to me, so I'm not too sure we got a good image here. But I'm going to play with it a little bit more and see if we can make it look good enough to put on social media. I like the pose. I'm not sure if I like that pose or do I like this one better. Maybe we'll edit both of them and see. So right now I'm going to isolate the background from the foreground and reduce the exposure on the background just a little bit. And I tell you what, I don't think I'm going to in this image. Frankly, I kind of like the colors of the background. I think what I'd like to do is warm up this tree branch, this log out here. So I think what I'm going to do is put a mask on it, and we'll go here to, we'll do an object mask, and all I'm going to do is paint in roughly the object we're going to work on, and Lightroom will fill in the rest of it and mask it off for us. Let's go ahead and do that. And it missed some of it down here, so let's go ahead and add a brush, and we'll just brush in what it missed right there. So it's selected the log now, and I'm going to go down here where it says color temperature, and I'm going to put it back up into the warm area just a little bit. Okay. And I believe I'm going to bring the exposure down just a tad on it, okay? And let's go ahead and bring the blacks down just a tad. I'm going to increase the whites just a hair. Okay, so that's not bad. Let's do this. Let's select the bird and brighten the bird up just a little bit. So I'm going to go to create a new mask and hit the plus key right here. And I'm going to say select subject. And it did a real nice job of selecting the bird. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase the exposure of the bird just a little bit, and we're going to bring the highlights down and raise the shadows just a tad. Now I'm going to go ahead and increase the texture on it under effects and give it just a little bit right there. And that looks pretty good to me, okay? It's still not as sharp as I'd like it to be. Even when I apply some sharpness to it, there must be some motion blur or something in this image. But it's probably good enough to post on social media. Okay, I wouldn't print it, but nobody's really going to notice if it's not sharp. Now let's try one more thing here, okay? Let's see if we can use Topaz Sharpen AI to improve the sharpness of this bird. And I'm going to go ahead and I have Topaz loaded on my MacBook. I'm going to right click on the image. Let's go back to that, right click on the image. I'm going to go down to edit in, and I'm going to go down to select Topaz Sharpen AI, okay? And we're going to do that. Now one of the nice features about Topaz Sharpen AI is you can select or target your selection, and that's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll my mouse back out and look at this. And let's zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to look at all the options here. Motion blur normal is not looking too bad. Out of focus normal is not really looking that great. Too soft normal is not as good as motion blur normal. And too soft very blurry is way out there. So let me select a single view, and let's see what Topaz thinks it should be. It's thinking it should do a sharpened standard lens blur is what it's trying to tell me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take its recommendation, and I'm going to go down here to selectively sharpen your image, which is at the bottom of the screen. It looks like a little camera down here next to the apply button. I'm going to click on that, and then you click add, because we're going to add this mask. And I'm going to roll my mouse button out a little bit to zoom back. And all I'm going to do is paint the areas that I want Topaz Sharpen to affect, okay? And I'm just going to get some of this area right here. I'm not going to get the whole bird. You know, sharpness is kind of a perceived thing, the way I look at it. And that's about all I'm going to do. I may do a little sharpening down here at the bottom, okay, in the tail feathers right there. You don't have to be perfect. I'm going to hit the apply button, and then I'll hit the apply button again. And when I do that, okay, it's going to take me back to Lightroom with the Sharpen AI changes. And that looks better. When I zoom in, it doesn't look that great, but it does look better. I'm still going to take this photograph and post it on social media, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and, since this is my final edit on this photograph, and I haven't put any stars on it, I'm going to give it a 2-star, okay? And it's already got a pick flag on it. anyways, we're going to go on to another photograph now. Let me see what else I want. So if you recall, during the culling process there, when we gave things a pick flag or a reject flag, and then I went through the second time through the photographs and I gave them 1 stars. So now all I want to do is I want to see all the photographs that have a pick flag, a white flag, and they have 1 star. So down here in the filter area, if I come down here and click where the stars are, now it's showing me that all the photographs that have a white flag that are 1 star or higher. If I want to see all the photographs that just have a white flag, I can hit the 1 star again and it shows me all of them that have a white flag. But this time I want to hit the ones that I said I wanted to look at to edit. So these are the ones I'm going to look at here real quick. And I'm just going to thumb through them and make a decision. That's the one we just edited. I'm going to go back over here to this first one, this Bluebird. This one here kind of piques my interest. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into the Develop module under Details, and I'm going to go ahead and just denoise the photograph, okay? Now I've increased this to about 8600 because the ISO on it is about 1800. So let's go ahead and apply the denoise to this photograph. Okay, Lightroom has finished the denoise of this image, and we're just going to hit the Z key to zoom in. And you can see there's quite a bit of detail here. Now, mind you, it was a windy day, okay? So this photograph to me is pretty cool, okay? I like the softness of the feathers out here, but you still have a lot of detail in the center. So we're going to work with that. The first thing I want to do is crop the image, okay? As you can see in the photograph, it was snowing or snow flurries is what it was. And this was on yesterday. And I'm going to hit the crop tool right here, and I'm going to make this a vertical crop. And the quick way to do that is just to hit the X key, and it'll change it to vertical. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, okay? All I'm going to do is drag the top of it down. Now this is a pretty decent crop for a D500 image, a crop sensor image. It's only 20 megapixels, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the Enter key. And I'm going to go into the Basic tab and hit the Auto key. Wow, is that a big difference or what? Okay, that is really cool. Let's turn that off and look at it. This is before and this is after. Before, after. Look at the colors in the tree stump and look at the colors of the bird. I really like this picture. This is really nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to look at it for a second. I'm not too sure that I'm going to do any more to this picture, okay? I might apply some sharpening preset over here, but that is pretty cool. I like this photograph. I'm not going to do anything else. Sometimes you come across a photograph like this where you don't have to do anything else. I think it looks like a nice image, and I'm going to post that to social media. So while I'm here and we are on this photograph, I'm going to give it 2 stars, okay? That means I've edited and I kind of like it better than a 1 star. Let's work on this one while we're here, okay? Let's do the same thing. Let's go ahead and apply denoise to it. The same amount? No. The ISO for this is 3200. So let's go ahead and increase this to about 95, okay? And that might be too much, but we're going to try it and see. And we're going to let denoise work on it. This is an ISO 3200 image, so it is kind of up there. It's kind of soft to me. I don't think we're gonna edit this one. Okay, I don't think that bird is sharp enough. So what we're gonna do right now is if we're not gonna play with it no more and we're not gonna edit it no more, we're gonna hit the X key on it to reject it. And watch what happens now. We have 13 photographs in the film strip. When I hit the X key on this image, okay, it's going to drop that to 12. See what it did? It dropped it to 12. So this is a rejected photograph. Let's look at this one a little more closely. It's got quite a bit of noise in it. This is 6400 ISO. Let's go ahead and see what Lightroom's denoise will do to it. Okay, I'm going to leave it at 95 for the amount. And we're going to see if this is going to work out for us or not. you know, the keeper rate on photographs sometimes is just not, you know, tremendous. It's sharp, okay. I think what I'm going to do is go on and edit it out a little bit, and let's see what we go. So there's the bird, and there's a lot of clutter behind it. So let's go ahead and crop it, okay. I like to get some of that leaf in there, but I also want some of that that hook to be in there. I wish I had more of that hook in the bottom there. It's kind of cut it off, but we'll go ahead and do that. That's the crop. I'm going to select the background, and I'm going to reduce the exposure of the background quite a bit, okay? Really quite a bit. I'm going to drop the contrast down on the background. See me changing the sliders down here. I'm going to bring the highlights down and increase the blacks just a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to select the bird. So I'll go up here to the plus sign and create a new mask. Select subject. And it's got the bird. And I'm going to bring the highlights down just a hair. But I'm also going to increase the exposure just a little bit. And the shadows, and bring the blacks down just a hair. Now while I'm at it, I'm going to slide on down here to effects and increase the texture to about 10, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a sharpening preset of medium, okay? Let's see. Let me close that out first. I don't think I did that. Yeah. So the whole picture has and that's pretty sharp image. There's a lot of detail there, okay? Now, if I wanted to get fancy with this, I could put a vignette on it a little bit, and I might do that. I'm going to show you how I like to do a manual vignette. This is something new for you. I'm going to click on the masking tool. I'm going to create a new mask, and I'm going to select a radial gradient, okay? And then what I'm going to do is right here in the bird, I'm going to hold down my mouse key, and I'm going to draw a circle mask, elliptical type mask, and you notice that it's got the bird, okay? Well, that's not what I want. I want the stuff outside of the bird. So I drew the mask over the bird. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the mask, okay, and I'm going to tell it to invert. You click on the little 3 dots right here next to the mask, these little 3 dots right here. Hold on, let me get... Well, where'd they go? Hold on a minute. There they are. Right next to the radial gradient, you click on the 3 little dots and you say invert. Now it's selected everything outside of the bird. Now what I'm going to do is just drop the exposure on this mask and darken those areas out there. Okay, and I'm probably going to pull the highlights down just a little bit. And if you want to add a little extra blur to it, you can come down to the effects area and take your texture and drop it down just a little bit, and it'll kind of blur it a little bit more back there. I'm going to click on the masking tool. So that is what I've come up with that one. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2-star. And we're going to take a break. Okay, the next photograph that I have identified that I might want to try is the Cardinal photograph. And, you know, I've already put a pic on it and a 1-star, so this is one that I wanted to look at. The first thing I'm going to do right away is I'm going to go ahead and do a denoise on it. The ISO on this was 2500, okay. And I've already applied denoise to it, and here is the denoise image for you. And the next thing I want to do is crop it, okay? Let's go ahead and crop it. And I want to get rid of some of this man-made object that's in the photograph. I just want to show the bird mainly like that, okay? That's my crop. And the next thing I want to do is click on the basic and do the auto. And you can see it's done a really nice job with that. And probably what I'm going to do is decrease the highlights just a little bit for that snow that's on that board. And the bird is really red. Now, one thing about Nikon cameras is they really have a lot of trouble with red for some reason, or that's been my experience anyways. So I'm going to go down to calibration, and I'm going to take the red primary slider and the saturation slider, and I'm going to slide it down just a little bit. If I go extreme, it'll take all the red, but all I want to do is pull the red down a little bit, say right about there, okay? And using the calibration tool is kind of handy sometimes. You can play around with that with the different colors, the blue, you know, the bird is selected, so you got to kind of, you know, watch what you're doing there. And then you got greens right here, okay? Anyways, yeah, so that's the calibration tool that I use sometimes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply some sharpening preset on it, and it's not really good. There's some detail back here behind its head, so I think what we got is there was a lot of wind that day, and I believe that was the problem here. It was real breezy, and for some reason, also too, I think there's some heat distortion going on. I have to watch sometimes because I'm shooting out my bedroom window. It's like 25 degrees outside, and the heat is coming out the window where your lens is, and it's also coming from around my heater, which is on the other side of the house, from around the corner from where I'm shooting. So sometimes I have to wait till the heater is not on and running. You know, the other way to do this is to go outside, to actually just go outside and sit in the cold and do it. But I like shooting from my bedroom window. We're going to go ahead and give that a number 2, okay? And let's look at one more photograph. Let's look at this Mockingbird right here. It was ISO 1100, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the denoise to that. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, about 80 would be good, okay? You don't have to be precise with these numbers. And we're going to let that denoise work on that photograph. Okay, we have this image now has been denoised. It's ISO 1100, 1/1000th of a second. And I'm going to go right to the, there's really no cropping to be done here, okay? And this is not a really good image, but it's just a fun one to do. I'm going to hit the auto button. And as you can see, it's done some really nice job with the background and what have you. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give it some preset sharpening, and that's good enough for me. There's quite a bit of detail up here in the head of it, you know. Anyways, that's a pretty cool image. I'm going to give it a number 2. Now, if I just want to see the images that I have edited and put a number 2 on them, I'll just come down here to where this star is and increase it to number 2. Now we're down to 5 images, okay? And these are the ones that I have picked, and we're just going to look at them real quick to edit. And this one here, I really love this one, okay? We're going to post this one for sure. This is an okay image. This will probably fly on social media. And this is an okay image. I'm not real happy about it. I'm not real fuzzy about that, okay? And then this Mockingbird is just kind of a cool shot. So, you know, I will probably post these to my Facebook page, which I'm going to show in this video. And I'm just going to go ahead right now and select all of them and do an export on them. I'm going to show you how to do an export. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to export these images. And you need to be in the library module to do it the way I'm doing it. And I'm going to go down here to the, I'm first going to select the 5 images out of the film strip down here. You can select them that way, or you can go to the grid view and select them that way. And you click on the first image, hold down the shift key, and click in the center of the last image so you get them all selected. The next thing I want to do is select the export key. And I have a preset here already set up for Facebook, and I call it Facebook 2024. I could rename that today if I wanted to. Go up here and rename it to 2025. Okay. And I just have a generic Facebook folder on the computer under my media area that I go to, because I just export things in there. I post it to social media, and after a while I'll go back and delete the Facebook folder with the images in it. I just delete the images because those are JPEG images and they can be recreated. Okay, So I'm going to uncheck this right here. So what I have is export to a specific folder, and the name of my folder is Volumes, Digital Media, Media, Facebook. So I can find it over there. If I want to put it in a subfolder, I could put it right here, put in a subfolder and put it in something called, I'm going to create a subfolder called Facebook Birds, okay? And it'll create these these JPEGs in that folder for me so I can find them a little easier if I wanted to. Some of my other settings that are important, I do not rename. Down here in file settings, my image format is JPEG. I limit the file size to 2000K, okay? And the thing with Facebook is if your image sizes are 2048 or less, they will not compress them. That's what I hear anyways. Color space is sRGB. I don't really, I'm sorry, limit the file size to 2000K. I misspoke there. Down here under image sizing, I resize to fit on the long edge, and I use 2048 pixels at 72 pixels per inch. And like I said before, if you do it that way, Facebook will not compress your images for you. And that's what I hear. I've never really gone in and tested that, but just that's what I hear. I do sharpening for screen. I include the metadata, okay, all the metadata. And I don't put a watermark on them or anything. If I wanted to, I do have some watermarks set up in here. I could click on that. I'm going to click on the export button, and now it's going to export these 5 images into this folder that says Facebook Birds, okay? Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the Lightroom edits, and I'm going to go over and show you how I post these on my Facebook page now, okay? Okay, I have my Facebook page pulled up for you. Okay, this is my personal page. If you're interested in following me on Facebook, there you go. You got my profile picture and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to where it says photo video, and I'm going to click on that. I'm sure everybody knows how to do this. And I'm going to add photos. And then I got to go find the photos. So they are over here on this drive under Digital Media, Media, Facebook, and Facebook Birds. And here they are, okay? Now I kind of want to put them in a certain order so I can put which one I want to be first. So I'm going to start with this one, the Mockingbird, put it up first. And then I'm going to add photos and videos from there. And I'll select the Cardinal, holding down the control key, not the control key, the command key on the Mac. I'm going to individually select these 3 photographs next. And then I'm going to add one more photograph, which is that Bluebird right there, okay? So these are just generic photos that I shot today and that I may want to share with people. So I just picked these 5 to show today. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little title here. And I'm going to just say a little, let's don't use the cap lock key, a little backyard birding today on a cold winter afternoon at 24 degrees. The birds sure depended on me today to make sure their food and water was available. Now, I'm going to put the date here, okay? Actually, I'm going to put the camera and the lens I use. So I'm going to put Nikon D500 because most photographers like to know what you're using. And I think it's a good idea to share that information. 500 PF, f5.6 E lens. Whoops, not lens. And then put the date, okay? January. Even though it was the 6th and the 7th, I'm going to put 6th through the 7th, 2025, okay? So that's my Facebook posting. I'm going to hit next. And I don't do all this kind of crazy stuff right here. I've got another Facebook page that I'm on. So here's my photographs for today. Now, if you want to, you can click on each image right here and give it the name of the bird so they know what it is. So I'm going to click on the Mockingbird, and I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to say Mockingbird. And many of you may not know this, but this is the state bird of Tennessee. Don't ask me how that happened. I'm going to say done editing, and I'm going to go to the next photograph just by clicking that right arrow key and say edit. This here's a northern cardinal, and it is a male, so I'm going to do in parentheses like so. Say done editing. Go to the next picture. This here is a northern flicker, and I've had northern flickers here in the yard for the last several days. They do love suet feeders, okay, and so that's a protein for them. And this one here is the eastern bluebird. These are my favorites. I wish these were the state birds of Tennessee, not the mockingbirds. And I think we got another bluebird right here. Okay, so now we have, I'm going to close it by hitting the X key. Now we have identified the birds for people so they can see what they are when they click on them. And to me, they look pretty good. You know, if you want to go see what they look like, go over to my Facebook page. The title of it is https://www.facebook.com/rdphoto3. That's the short name for my Facebook page, or go search me out, either one, okay? Anyways, I'm going to close that out. And that was this session's editing of some bird photographs for you. And I hope you've got some use out of that and enjoyed that and learned something from that. If you want to leave me a comment, you want to ask me some questions or whatever, I'm always open and try to answer your questions for you. Maybe I did something in editing my pictures that you would like to make a comment. Maybe I should change the way I do something, okay? Now, just so you know, not all those pictures were perfect in-sharp pictures, but when we're posting on social media, and this is my philosophy, people are looking at these things on a little bitty camera phone on their phone, okay? A little bitty screen. They're not going to notice the out-of-sharp type photographs. You will, but they won't, okay? So if you got a pretty good composition and you just want to share some photographs, feel free to do it, okay? If it's terrible, then get rid of it, okay? And when we got done right here, I did not get rid of those photographs yet, but I will go get rid of them eventually. But I have already called them out and tagged them for reject. And to me, that is very important that we start doing that at the beginning of the year. You know, you may go out and shoot 500 to 1,000 photographs and you may only have one keeper. Don't keep those other photographs around very long, okay? They're just taking up space and you'll never go back to editing them. Trust me, I'm going through my catalog right now for the last 6 years, cleaning out that catalog. Anyways, thanks for coming along today. My name is Ron Durant and I am a photographer in East Tennessee, and you all have a nice day now. Bye-bye.